Well, hello there. I'm Teresa Norton, and this is The View from Abroad. And I am the Broad, and this is the podcast where each time we unpack a newspaper column that I wrote almost 30 years ago when I was living and working and raising a family in Hong Kong. And we do this to see what feels relevant today, what still feels important, and maybe what feels a little out of step or what's changed dramatically, and maybe how we've changed in the process. So I met today's guest when I was interviewing fellows to work as my co-host on a new radio station in Hong Kong. It was the first fluently bilingual English and Cantonese radio station. And I talked to a lot of guys, but none of them clicked until in walked Harry Wong. We ended up getting the morning drive slot, which meant that we met at the station at about 5:30 every morning, much to his chagrin. I don't think he liked me dragging him in there at 5:30, but we had to prep for a 6 a.m. show. And listen, not everybody can get up that early and face the world with a smile, but I can tell you something, Harry can, and he did. And I taught him a little something about running a tight radio show, and he taught me magic tricks and a plethora of philosophical sayings in Cantonese, and where to get the best Japanese bentos in Hong Kong. So we're going to hear more about what Harry's doing now during the break. But first, let's listen right now to the column that Harry chose, written in 1998, Where But in Wanchai. I don't know, maybe I'm nuts, but as I left a rather seedy cinema in Wanchai and glanced at the posters of notorious dames like Debbie, who did Dallas in her pink lace underpants, I thought to myself, it really doesn't get any better than this. 2 hours earlier, I had been rushing up Wanchai Road, hands numb from the lack of circulation afforded them by carrier bags stuffed with the finishing touches of my summer wardrobe, snatched from the racks of an exclusive little shop called something like Happily Fashion. I'd agreed to meet my buddy Hugh at a movie theater neither of us had been to for a 5:15 showing of Good Will Hunting, and I'd arrived uncharacteristically early to check out the location. That's when I first spotted the Kitty Does Kowloon Tong posters and realized that there were actually 2 cinemas in this complex. With a whopping 5 minutes to spare before Hugh was due to meet me, I set off to search for the $10 bins of haute couture, and when I hurried back to the theater 10 minutes late, I spotted my friend leaning against one of the posters in earnest conversation with 2 local fellows. A couple of touts attempting to lure him into that den of iniquity where Rita does Rio, I thought. "Ah, Teresa!" Hugh cried as I charged Joan of Arc-like to rescue him from temptation. "Let me introduce you to the projectionist, Mr. Chan, and the theater owner, Mr. Wong." "Now we can start the movie," grinned Mr. Wong. "We're the only customers for this showing, and when I told him you were on your way, they held up the film for us. Mr. Chan here's been giving me a little tour of the projection booth," Hugh informed me incredulously. Come, Mr. Wong cried as he hurried us to the only other person at the theater, the ticket saleswoman. "Pick anyone. It doesn't matter. You can sit anywhere." He escorted us into the empty theater, and as we chose our seats, Mr. Chan smiled down from behind the glass in the projection booth. We broke out the chocolates I had brought, and Hugh giddily crinkled the cellophane to the annoyance of nobody at all. After the credits had rolled, we rose from our seats and turned to see Mr. Chan giving us the thumbs up from behind the projector. Mr. Wong met us in the aisle and asked how we'd like the film. Then the 2 of them walked us out of the theater and into the now neon-lit night. "Next change is as good as it gets," Mr. Wong offered as we all shook hands. As Hugh and I walked arm in arm through the throng of people pushing their way along another busy street in another hectic corner of our city, we fairly floated. "What an extraordinary experience," he said as we parted. Where else in the world, in a major city, would a theater owner not only run a film for an audience of 2, but do it so graciously, so gladly? And how many times has the poor projectionist sat through that movie, and yet he not only manages a smile but a thumbs up and a tour to boot? Who would think that smack in the middle of rude, ill-tempered, money-grabbing Hong Kong, the good folk, Chan and Wong, are waiting outside the cinema to offer an experience like that? Will we go back? You betcha. But I think Jack Nicholson has his work cut out for him. As far as Hugh and I are concerned, we've already seen as good as it gets. Hello, Harry Wong.
Hello, Mother Teresa. Did I used to call you that, among other things?
Oh, probably amongst very many other things. It is so lovely to be, with headphones on and talking to you again on a microphone. How great is that?
It's amazing. We're doing it all over again.
Back to the future. In the lead up to this conversation, of course, so many memories came up. So many, many happy memories. Listen, let's talk about that column.
Yes, please.
I wrote so many love letters to Hong Kong in the course of the 7 years when I wrote that column, because what that place meant to me and still means to me. And, I guess if I look at it and say what's still relevant and what is no longer relevant, well, one thing, I'm not living there anymore. But, I'm curious, what are some of the things that you think have changed?
You gave me so many wonderful columns to choose from. And this one, as I was reading it, never mind about just listening to you reading it, which is amazing, which is really taking me down the memory lane. Just the thought of writing a love letter to Hong Kong is such a romantic thing. From a Western lady like you as well. I see so many Hong Kong people, I do not have that passion, to see Hong Kong, and you still have. And you're saying that you're abroad. You're not. Your heart is still, you left your heart in Hong Kong. And I thought, if you leave your heart in Hong Kong, and if I can actually really see you, I can really see the you in yesteryears in Wanchai. I can literally see the you just going up and down the streets of Wanchai. And you are quite right. There is a lot of changes. In fact, I'm sure people who used to be here 30 years ago can tell you nothing but changes. Of course, you're talking about the experience about you and your friend who are going to a cinema, and you make a mistake, a very beautiful mistake, because there are two cinemas in Wanchai. And right on that point, that's the reason why I picked it, because very sarcastically, you will never make that mistake anymore in Wanchai. Do you know why, Teresa? Do you know why?
They don't have porn. Do they not have porn films anymore because people watch it all on the internet?
Well, thanks for telling me. I heard a lot about that. I have no idea you could get that kind of thing online. Thank you very much. Yes, there is not even any more cinemas in Wanchai.
Wow.
I mean, cinemas just start closing down. Never mind about Wanchai. Someone why the guy who actually signed up Bruce Lee and then started up Golden Harvest. And Golden Harvest had so many cinemas all around Hong Kong. You know what? It's just a matter of less than a month ago, including the one not in Wanchai, but the one that you must know, because it's the one in Ocean Terminal. The very big cinema in Ocean Terminal.
Huge.
Goodbye. No more.
Gone. Wow.
Even that one's gone.
Do you know what I remember? When I first came to Hong Kong, it was a novel concept that you would book a seat in the cinema.
Yeah.
Right? And going to the Palace Theater in Causeway Bay, which was next to what was then the Excelsior and is now the World Trade Center. It was enormous. And didn't they used to do beauty contests and things there?
That's right. Now, okay. Before Palace was a cinema, even it was a nightclub. And it was when I was a kid, I had the fortune. One evening, I can't remember why, but I got to see some really top-notch magicians playing that nightclub. before that nightclub became Palace, which was a cinema, and later,
Yeah.
obviously, it became the Excelsior Hotel.
I just want to just double click on something.
Go for
I
it.
think that the World Trade Center
Mhm.
is what used to be the Palace, because the Excelsior was always next door
Oh,
to the
you're right.
Palace Theater.
You're right. See, you know Hong Kong better than me, and you're not even there. Yeah. Okay. I can't fool you. You're absolutely right. The World Trade, the WTC, right? It's still there. WTC is still there, but no more cinema. And that's the
No
cinema
more
where.
Palace.
Can you remember a movie you watched in that cinema, Teresa?
Oh yeah,
Go
I
for
can remember a lot of
it.
movies.
Okay.
Well, one of them would have been Blue Velvet
Yeah.
and maybe Ghostbusters. But the thing that we in those days was that you could go there, you could sit on that first row in the up above the stalls,
Yep.
and you could put your feet up and smoke cigarettes while you watched the movie. I can tell you, it was disgusting. But that was, yeah, you could smoke everywhere in
Well,
those days, you
okay.
know?
In Hong Kong, well, for your friends and listeners who doesn't know much about Hong Kong's cinema culture was quite interesting. We used to have like three different kind of classes. Hong Kong, because had always like been a colony, right? So everything is very colonial, and you have to be
Mm, mm,
rich
mm,
enough
mm.
to sit in the private, the 超等, and then you have 前座, the front seats, very cheap because you're just right underneath the screen. And then,
Looking up the nose hairs
yeah,
of,
exactly. And then at the back is 後座, the back ones. And these are the ones that my mom and dad usually get, right? They're not cheap. They're not too cheap to go to the front, but they're not rich enough to go upstairs, and they don't smoke. So they
yeah,
don't go to upstairs. It's called the super 超等 or something. You have to pay extra so that you go upstairs. I remember in those days, because we're in 後座, so when their movie finished, there are like 1,000 people, even like, they used to be really big, those cinemas, right? And when we come out, and the people who come from upstairs, they will give us a very snobbish look, like, oh, those people from downstairs, yeah. So it really makes me wanting to one day watch a movie properly from upstairs, which I did,
yeah.
which I did.
Oh, well,
Love,
let me tell you something that really stood out to
go
me,
for it.
and I'm curious to know if is this. I hope it's still true, but I'm not sure if it is. Business owners taking time to show and tell.
Yes.
Right? That guy standing there talking with you, the projectionist taking him up to look at and there was nobody else there.
Oh,
And I don't think it was making the small amount of money that was just our two tickets.
yeah.
It was the care and the pride and the generosity of him to really show us a beautiful evening in the movies.
Now,
Is that still around?
that you see, that's another thing. It's such a short column, you capture so many things that's worth talking about 30 years later. What I would say is, I think Hong Kong people are still Hong Kong people. And I have friends who actually moved to Hong Kong 10 years ago. And they remember the reason for coming. The reason for coming to Hong Kong is they remember the first time they came to Hong Kong. The people in Hong Kong are so efficient, but at the same time, they're very warm and very caring. Even they don't speak your language, they try the best. Because as you remember, even when we were kids, we had to learn English. So everyone will try their best. Well, that is quite different now. Okay, but that's not what you're talking about. What you're talking about is, do we find those people who has the leisure in their mind, in their own little world, to have that little kind of friendliness to say, come in, let me show you, like, come into the, oh, you like your prawn toast, let me show you how I made that, come into the kitchen, let me show you how I
Yeah.
prepare this. It's very similar, right?
Exactly right. It's that care and that willingness to
Okay.
stop the action and be with you.
Well,
Oh,
what I can tell you is, I think people are still people. Hong Kong people still have that kind of beautiful heart. However, let's just recap
yeah.
30 years ago. There are only a few films real, like physical film, really big, like wheels. And
Yeah.
there are like boys who are actually on the scooter. They have to run the reels from one cinema to the other so that they can actually, there are only so many reels of movies. So sometimes they have to wait for the next one to arrive. And there is a person like that person who invites you to the room. They feel so much pride because it's a real skill. Because the boy delivered the reel, and then this one is just slowly running out, and they have to put that at the back. And then there is a bit where the two film, because one movie consists of like two. Sometimes if it is like I don't know, Gone with the Wind, right? There would be like three reels, right? And then that's why sometimes when they change the film, there are little hints. You can see that there's discrepancy, yeah. But
Yeah.
but that kind of feeling is incredible, right? And that's why that man
Yeah.
was feeling so great, because it's such a great skill, yeah, to
Yeah.
to put that reel on. But now they don't need that because it's all digital.
Yeah.
It's just a press of
Everything's
button,
digital.
and then
Yeah.
and then so it goes. And even
Yeah.
a lot of people doesn't even bother to go to cinemas now.
So wait a minute. Before we get too gloomy about this, what are the things that people still take that moment of pride to share with somebody else? I mean, where does that happen
Okay.
now?
Beautiful question. I'm very glad that you asked me that question now, because if you asked me that question 5 days ago, maybe I won't have such a vivid memories. Now, um, a few weeks ago, I got a ring. My sister bought me a ring. This ring, what is so special about it, is actually made out of a 50 cents, old 50 cents, which
Oh.
which is silver. So she got me this ring. I said, why you get me this ring? And she said, look at the date. And then he said 1963, which was the year I was born. Bam. And that was the
Oh.
year they mint this coin. My crazy mind is, now I have the ring, and I use this ring to introduce the old times to my young friends. So I need to show them the coin. So where to get a coin like that? Now, I went to Lok Fu, and there was a very small shop, and there is an old man who's selling coins and stamps. Okay, it's like a little shop in like Chinatown, in
Yeah,
San
I know what you
Francisco.
mean, like a little cubby hole
Yeah,
almost.
it's one
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
Next to the Chinese laundry, that sort of thing. Okay, and
Right.
this man still have that kind of beautiful, kind heart.
Oh,
I said, I am
yeah.
looking for a vintage 50 cents coin, and he said $20 for 8, which I think is a steal, because these are like vintage coins, right? Collectibles. Is that
20 Hong Kong dollars?
for 8 of these
8?
ancient coins? And
Wow.
he said, but he's very serious. He said, but you can't choose. Whichever coin I give you, you have to take it. I said, okay, I'll get it. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I won't get the 1963, but I'll still get it from the old man, because by the look of that shop, that place, no one visit that place, right? At the back of a wet market in Lok Fu, all right? And then he brought out a very big tin, and the tin is like 丹麥藍罐牛油 cookie. The blue Dutch cookies.
Yeah.
He opened it. It's all 50 cents coin, and he poured it all on the table. And then he looked, and then my sister was there as well, and my mom was there as well. And then he go, all right, I'll let you pick 8 coins. So he let us
Oh.
pick, all right. And now the reason why he let us pick those coins, he see that we are actually not young kids, and it takes time for us to find the 1963. He start telling stories. He start telling us how he actually was in a different business, and he used to be a storyteller in Red Diffusion, in RTV. And he was telling us how he was not a gambler, and how the olden times were so good. And when people come and visit him, and because he was making a little bit more money, when people asked to borrow money, he said, I will always lend them when I have money. And then he said that, and he taught me, he said, in the olden days, when people say, can I borrow some money? What it meant by is, can I have some money? Never
Yeah.
think
You're
of
going to
that
pay back.
will repay back.
Right.
But he said, I will steal I will still lend them money.
This is a beautiful example of this, and it's called Sunset
Oh my goodness, this is a
Survivor.
beautiful bow. Oh, wow,
And
wow,
it's
wow.
all images and stories about these businesses that are going out of business because the kids don't want to take over the daddy's and mommy's
Wow.
business.
This is really this.
I'm going to just give this a plug. Okay. Lindsay Varty is her name. She grew up in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Expat girl. Lindsay Varty. And it's called Sunset Survivors, Meet the People Keeping Hong Kong's Traditional Industries Alive.
It's such a beautiful bow. Beautiful, beautiful photos. Sunset Survivors is called. All right.
Yes.
I'm totally
okay. You'll go out and get a cup.
I'm going to look for it.
I know you will. Listen, we are going to take a break now because I could talk to you forever. And, we may have to make this into 3 episodes instead of 1, Harry. We're going to take a break now because I want to hear about 3M, magic, music, and mindfulness. So, Harry, tell me, I mean, I knew you as a magician for sure. I knew you also at one point had a music school. You were teaching recorder, as I recall, back in the day to kids. I know that you've done a lot with the Hong Kong Philharmonic and television shows for kids and all of that. Tell us about what you're doing now, because I think it's just wonderful.
Teresa, you're pretty much like a fairy godmother to me, because in 1991, somehow I got chosen by you personally to bring me into this beautiful land of radio broadcasts. And I was really not thinking, I was not excited about this at all at the time, because I was already on TV since 1986 and had my own show, and I was in my late 20s, and there was a lot going for me. I was so excited. And I was with RTHK, and RTHK had so many shows going for me. Then you came to me and approached me for this radio thing. And then later on, I realized the best DJ, the first thing they learn is not to talk. I remember. And there is just so much that I learned from that. And I have no idea that it would be so useful. I'm actually doing a daily mid-morning radio show, 3 hours a day for elderlies in Hong Kong. And not only is a radio show, there's a 1 hour of live broadcast TV, which is like a radio and TV as well. And I found it most beautiful because I see that as surface. I see that as my link to yesteryears, because I'm talking to people who are very much similar age as us. So I just want to say thanks, take this as opportunity to say thanks, because you took me full circle. I'm back in radio and TV at the same time. And at the same time, because of this job, I have half day free, and I want to see my magic and music going, to do more useful things for the society, because God doesn't give you ability just for you to show off or just to entertain. There is a purpose. And I always see I'm happiest when I am an instrument. As you might know, that I've been doing magic as some kind of therapy for a very long time, for 20 years already. But I'm dealing with SEN children, special education need children, and I found that they are really magical kids, because they are the most annoying audience, because they always figure out your tricks first, because they see things not the normal way. And a lot of my students, I mean, they might not be, because the society measure them in a different way, right? But when they come into the magic world, they see themselves differently, and a lot of them really shine. So I'm doing that a lot. And I have a friend just came back from England who is a wonderful music therapist. So, and recently I've been doing a lot of mindfulness stuff. I actually get up and meditate for more than 10 years now. I meditate every morning, and it really opens me up. Yeah. So I'm gradually putting all these 3 things together. So teaming up with my friends, and we're starting this thing called 3M, because it's music therapy, magic therapy, and mindfulness.
And isn't the woman who is working with you, she is a trained therapist, isn't
Yes.
she? Is it art therapy that
Yes,
she
that's right.
does, or?
Well, this lady actually was ADHD, and she
Mm.
had problem for a very long time, and she has been working with kids for more than 30 years. And she is actually a therapist and also a social worker specialized in storytelling with children. So the three of us team up, and what we do, we were, first of all, we think, okay, we're going to do this, and we are going to have a website, and we are going to have a chapter 88, and we go, no, we don't do any of that. We're just running play shops, not workshop, but play shops. And at first, we're thinking that we're just dealing with children, maybe parents, but then very fast, very soon, we realized that we end up in like Chinese University, Hong Kong University, Education University, and we are doing a lot of workshops with them, with the teachers, and
Yes,
yeah,
educators.
and their progress,
Yes, yes.
and social workers who are actually studying at the postgrad, and they realize even in education they're looking for new ways. They know that the system we have now is so outdated.
Well, listen, we've got to wrap this up and get to the second half here because I've got to find out what is the story that was stimulated by that column.
Oh,
Before we do that, let me just say, if you're interested in finding out for your child, for your as a parent, or if you're an educator and you're based in Hong Kong, here is the email. It's 3M collab, COLAB. So 3MCOLAB at gmail.com. All right, Harry, we are back.
just like
And
that.
now I want to hear your story just like that. Snap.
Like that. Okay, what story? When you're asking me about personal experience, and we look at Wanchai, and of course there are so many things I can talk about, but I cannot help to not think about the happy things that I used to do with you after our radio show. Because
Oh,
in those days, because of lack, we have to go out and find. And one of the things we desperately need. You remember the Fleet Club?
yes.
Okay, so what happened? Teresa and Harry need so much materials, and in those days there was never mind about phone or computer, not even pages at the beginning, right, of the
No,
90s.
there was nothing. That's right. And there was in the China Fleet Club, just for listeners who don't know what that was,
Please.
it was a base for any sort of naval ships that came through, British ships or American ships or whatever, that their military staff could, kind of decamp there, and they'd have, little shops that you could get discounts if you were military. And somehow I made friends with a guy who worked there, and we got in, and we would go to that little book and magazine store and buy all those crazy, hamster parachutes from space and lands
That's
on
right.
woman's
That's right.
breakfast toast. It
That's
was all
right.
crazy stories,
That's right.
right?
That's right. Because
Woman sees Jesus's face on a waffle.
yeah,
It was that kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, they had all kinds of
yeah.
crazy stuff.
Tabloid
Yeah.
newspapers. Tabloid.
Tabloid, sensational newspapers. And you want to hear something crazy? Now you don't even realize that what you're hearing is tabloid crazy news. At least we knew we were buying it.
Yeah.
Now you just go on your phone and you don't know what's
You never
real and what's not.
We call it fake news now, don't we? And the coolest thing
Yeah,
is
we do.
actually the bigger the broadcast house, the more fake the news is, apparently. So I totally give up because I think that at least our conversation now is genuine. Yeah.
We know that. Yes. And our memories are real. That's one of the things I think to myself, in this world where you can't believe what you see and you can't believe what you hear, what can you believe? And I think you believe what you hold in your heart. and what you remember. And I think it's important to have conversations like this to go, what is really important now?
I think I have the other side of me, which is a bit wee woo, right? So people ask me, so what do you think all the time? I said, I'm only thinking about one question, and the question, there's only one question worth asking, which is, who am I? Who am I? And the second thing is that actually just this morning, after my meditation, during meditation, sometimes nothing comes to you, but you just do it. But after meditation, something interesting occasionally comes. And this morning, something came. And this is the ultimate answer to all questions that I have. I'm getting lazy. And also, my mind is not working as good as before. So things has to be simple and easy.
Give us the shortcut.
Yeah, shortcut. I believe that if there is one language which is universal, it should be, and if there is one belief, it should be really simple. Everyone should understand it, right? Maybe not everyone can do it, but it should be something that when you say it, bam, oh yes. And I got that answer. Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Don't laugh. It is just this. If you have any questions, you just ask. Well, what would love do? What would love answer? That's all.
Beautiful.
What would love answer? And that has to be the right answer. And that is the right feeling. Because we can calibrate really beautiful, happy, peace, blissful, kind of.
And it's universal.
Yeah.
It's everybody.
Yeah. So that's
I've learned a lot from you, Harry Wong. And one thing that you taught me, Harry taught me this one phrase. And, loosely translated, it's something like, if you don't have nothing, you can't experience something. Or if you haven't had bad times, you can't really appreciate good times.
Oh,
and he taught me how to say it. And then every time we would go to anything that had a stage, he'd say, Teresa, get up, say it. And so I'd get up and I'd go, Modim hoga ya dingsiri hoga.
Wow!
And everybody,
you can do it better than the Hong Kong people. I cannot believe it. 冇啲唔好嘅，又點知啲好嘅呢？ If you don't have the bad times, how do you know the good ones? Without comparison, how do you know how fortunate we are? That is so Hong Kong. Hong Kong used to be a very humble fishing village. Everyone actually worked very hard, and they might not be very poetic or very sophisticated, but this is actually years of experience and generations wisdom.
This is universal. And that's what I love about this close to your story, about meditating and finding the universal answer to any question that comes up for you. The answer is ask love what love would do. And it's not connected with any religion or philosophy or belief, even in an afterlife, if that's not your thing. But we all know love exists. And I think that's a beautiful way for us to wrap up. Harry, my friend, my whole pang yao. I'm a little choked up, I have to tell you.
This is timeless, Teresa.
Breathe all the time. Come up slowly. And whatever you're going through right now, if you're worried about what's going to happen next, just take a beat and think, what if it's good? And then, if you have a question about it, ask, what would love do?
What would love do? Thank you.